right, MFL year 33 members. We are going to, again, just step right into the future of technology with a video draft recap and preview of the season. I don't know how many of us still were here at the beginning, because I know it's not all of us, but there are many who will remember. Several of us sitting around doing the stats through the newspaper, putting together a little newsletter that we used to throw in some envelopes and mail out back in the early 90s. And I even think we had people like bring us stamped envelopes to drafts and stuff. No longer the need for that, but we do have my YouTube channel, where, by the way, again, if you're following, I think we've gotten up to like chapter 16 of Treasure Island. So if anybody wants some Treasure Island reading, that's definitely an option. But also under the playlist of MFL updates, we have just some good nuts and bolts of the Metro Football League, MFL. Thought I would talk a little bit, first of all, about transactions. I already had someone ask me about can we go in and do some waivers. I've set it up for, I believe, everybody can put in some waiver claims today, and it will run tonight, probably around 2 in the morning, something like that, Tulsa time. I also, though, have the season set up for the waivers to run actually on Wednesday morning, early, like 2 a.m., and I'm not sure if we're going to get a waiver run tonight and then Wednesday, or only just Wednesday. But either way, I think that still kind of works, actually. So it looks to me like Sleeper's telling me it's going to run tonight, and then it shouldn't run again until Wednesday. So we should have a couple of waiver runs if somebody's looking to make some changes. I know we had at least a couple of injuries going into the live auction, and so some people were going to make some changes. I actually picked up a kicker last night and then decided, I better Google him, make sure nothing's going on. And the first thing that came up was like he was on injured reserve. But I think that was last year. I think that was an old story. So I don't know. We'll see. I can tell you, going into first game Thursday night, if anything needs to happen and you're having trouble, you can always text me, direct message me, something like that. I'm usually pretty good about if something needs to happen, I can push it through. So especially if it's a kicker or a defense or something like that. So no big deal there. And again, as long as you let me know before kickoff, we shouldn't really have any problems. Now, once kickoff happens, it gets a little weirder. But now, as it relates to Thursday, what is that, Dallas and Philly? If it's a Kansas City kicker, Thursday night, we can do something Friday, because they don't play until Friday against the Chargers in Brazil. So, and then if there's something going on Sunday, again, we can wait. The way I anticipate this going through the season is after the waivers run on Wednesday morning, which for many years we ran waivers on Thursday morning, and I think I changed that recently just because that pushed us too close with Thursday night games. So once they run Wednesday evening, it should now then be like a first come, first serve. You can just sort of add swap as you need to, free agent style. And those don't cost anything. So I've said many times, if anybody, there's at least 2 teams that spend all their money at the auction, which is fine. You don't have to have any extra money. But you can do the free agent ads, especially for free, for $0. And you can actually do waiver wire bids for $0. But if anybody bids $1, obviously, then they're gonna beat you out. So, the money's nice to have, but believe it or not, it's not absolutely necessary at this point. So, just know that that's all still the way things should go. And if you're having problems, let me know. I definitely, someone remind me, I have to take waivers off of Sundays before next Sunday. Because I don't want next Sunday to be a waiver day. I want it to be a free agent day in case someone needs to make a quick swap or something before a kickoff or something like that. But for today, I thought since it was post-draft, we ought to do it that way. Speaking of draft, I have a quick draft recap that I thought I would go through real quick. I think there were several steals, and I actually think they were all pretty much first round. I know Genty went pretty expensively, and I was talking to another owner about this. For him to be I guess the probably top ranked rookie. Let's be honest. But the top ranked running back in a running back class, and to go for what he did wasn't necessarily a shock. There was some talk about at least one owner had the idea that he should go for roughly the franchise amount, and I think he went exactly for the franchise amount. So, but interestingly enough, after that, the second ranked rookie and at least the second ranked running back went for literally half. So I think Hampton might have been a steal. I really do. And I don't want to necessarily call anybody out or anything, so I'll keep owners' names kind of out of it. You can easily go find out who these folks are if you want to. But I thought Hampton was kind of a steal. And this other owner I was talking to kind of agreed. They thought, if Genty's going to go for a certain amount, then maybe Hampton should be maybe one tier below that. And as it appeared, he kind of went about 3 or 4 tiers below that, really. So I thought Mario Hampton was a steal. I will give some kudos to the signer of Jonathan Taylor. I had serious thoughts about re-signing him for cheaper. I did a whole video about how I wasn't going to keep him because he was going to go above the franchise amount. And even as I saw Taylor kind of going for cheap, I kind of fell into this vibe of last year my team sucked. I've mentioned that many times if you have been following my videos. And I just felt wholesale change was in order. But that being the case, man, I think Taylor went for a bargain. I was probably going to get him for, I can't even remember the number, but it was well over 111. I feel like it was 116 if I kept him. And I actually did consider it. Not for long, but I did consider it. And he went for, again, almost half that, a little over half that. But I think that might have been a steal. Speaking of what players could have been kept for and franchised for and that sort of thing, I ended up with C.J. Stroud, and I'll call myself out. I actually thought that was a little bit of a bargain. Number one, compared to last year, and number two, I just think a young, good quarterback who maybe had a little, sophomore slump and has a chance to bounce back. I think I did pretty well on that one. Maybe the most under the radar, and this actually is the same owner, I think, who got Taylor. So this owner's name is going to come up later, I think. I think Drake London was a steal. I think he got a really, really good deal on Drake London. I think that dude is going to be awesome. And, maybe that quarterback works out. Maybe he doesn't, Penix, but there's a little bit of a combo working there on that fantasy team, and now, and I think that team's been knocking on the door for a while. So we'll get to some more predictions here later in the preview. Couple of notes about the draft. Next year, I do think we will start at least 30 minutes earlier. I was ready to go 30 minutes earlier, even though I had a pretty busy day. If we'd have started at 8 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Tulsa time, I feel like that probably would have worked just fine. So I think we will start a little earlier next year. Somebody remind me. I think we need a shorter nomination clock. I don't know how important it is to nominate necessarily the right person, especially early on. Like if you throw someone out there who you didn't really want, that actually may work in your advantage because other people are bidding on them and spending money and that sort of thing. Later on, it kind of matters because you might get stuck with someone you didn't want, and you might want that roster spot for somebody else. So I think our nomination clock probably needs to go down to 15 seconds. Everybody get your cue set. We had time to get that done. Not necessarily on Saturday because, again, I had kind of everything seemed kind of locked up to me on my PC. But But prior to the keeper deadline, man, I had a bunch of people set in my queue, and I was kind of ready to go. So get your queue set. I think we'll limit the nomination time. And then the other thing I was going to say was, I think after, let's say, like either an hour or 90 minutes, there ought to just be an automatic reduction in the bid clock. So we ought to probably, I think 30 is good at the start, 30 seconds. But I think after, let's say, an hour or after 90 minutes, we probably need to just, everybody knows we're going to automatically drop that down to 15 seconds. I again, if nobody's really worried about it, we don't have to change anything. But I got to sleep in a little bit this morning, except Cassandra had to go to the airport, so we had to deal with getting her out the door. But it's not like it's a big deal, I guess, necessarily. I can tell you we got at least one member in the East time zone. So if they stayed in, and I don't know if they stayed in until the end, but that would have been close to 1 a.m. For them. So I think we start a little earlier at least, and then we're going to cut down on some timer issues, that's for sure. And yeah, everybody just have to have their stuff together to get it done. As far as draft results, I think everything went fairly well. One of the things I always stick into the end, even if I'm done early. And normally toward the end, you get down to like 4 teams or so, and things start going really fast because no one has any money left. And so once a nomination is made, it just sort of starts to happen. That actually for last night took a long time to get to, and it didn't happen until we were down to just 2 teams. I don't know. The sleeper auto option, I don't think is quite as good as the ESPN one was. I hope they tweak that a little bit, and maybe going into the future, that'll work out better. Back in the day, speaking of our little typed newsletters, we used to have what we called the Kiss of Death. It may have even been the commissioner's Kiss of Death. And I do think specifically that was Harold who was giving people the kiss of death back in the day. But I guess that is me now. And I'm about to bestow upon one owner what we consider the kiss of death. And that is simply this. I am going to predict who I think is going to win it. And I already mentioned they got a couple of bargains in the draft. I think some really good bargains. And frankly, this owner has been kind of knocking on the door for quite some time. If I may say so, I think there has even been talk about the surprise levels that this team does not win it more often. But I am going with the Tulsa Quakenados. You are getting the kiss of death. If y'all will follow me on the screen here, just looking real quick. First of all, they are projected to score a little over 150 week 1, and actually our defending champion, the Gray Squirrels, is projected for more. So I'm not going according to Sleeper here. I might also mention, by the way, the Winterfell Knights are projected to do very well in week 1. And they were under consideration. But I'm going to go with the Quakenados simply because if you look at this matchup, I love this Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson sort of synergy, I guess. The player who very well could be the number 1 running back if he stays healthy, and that's always the question. And the player who might be the best wide receiver in the league. I will reserve space for Chase. And I personally will reserve space for Amon-Ra St. Brown because he's just one of my favorites. But really do love just that 1-2 punch of McCaffrey and Jefferson. Love Nico Collins. I bid him up a little bit in the silent bidding and would have taken him. No problem. That was not just a make Tulsa spend money situation. That was a that dude's worth a little bit. Here's Drake London, who I think is just one of the rising stars and probably maybe the bargain of the auction, along with in a flex position, Jonathan Taylor. I think the Colts are going to suck. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be good. I think, again, I'm if I have some not buyer's remorse, what would it be? not fear of missing out, maybe a little FOMO. I feel like maybe I should have bid a little more on Jonathan Taylor. For what it is worth, I grabbed RJ Harvey, which I kind of wanted, and I'm not upset by that. So that was kind of the trade-off there. Penix, again, has the potential to be awesome. And he may also be a young, struggling quarterback. So we'll see how that goes. Lots of Falcons here. There's Koo. And then actually the Packers defense was kept prior to the Micah trade. Now that looks like a genius move for sure. I think the Packers defense is maybe going to be just a plug and play the whole season for sure. So I am going with the Tulsa Quakenados as far as my prediction to win it all this year. I generally do avoid picking my team. I will tell you this: I feel real good about my team. I think some things are going to have to break my way for me to go far, but at least I don't think I'm going to be the worst. I'll go out on a limb for that. So the Tulsa Quakenados, another mainstay in our many ages ago updates, was what we called the Play Like a Girl Award. That's actually just a reference to a movie called The Sandlot, if you've never seen it. But the ultimate insult among these boys was to tell someone they played like a girl. And we usually gave the PLAG Award, Play Like a Girl Award, to the team that scored the least amount of points every week. I have to tell you, in the decades since we did that, I have coached more girls than I have boys. And especially at the age at which I coached them, which is usually middle school, 7th, 8th grade. Man, those girls are much tougher than the boys are. So we're going to rename that. I opened submissions for a new name for our team that maybe laid an egg. Call them Chicken Little or something like that award each week. But I do plan on putting out a video update each week, giving you a little recap of what's happened in the scores and the standings, and just kind of have some fun with it, because I think honestly this league lends itself to that. And I'll just post a video link, and then if people want to watch it, great, and if they're not that interested, that's fine too. But I will throw out, if at some point we can get some Zoom meeting stuff set up and record screens and that sort of thing, which I am a little more familiar with now. I would love to have some guests come on to our weekly update show, and we can, talk a little trash if we want to, and just try and have some fun with it. But anyway, I think that wraps up your preview, season preview, and your draft recap episode here. And just get out there. If you got some waiver claims to put in, get those done today, because I think there will be one run tonight. And then if that doesn't happen, I think we'll have another one run Wednesday. And then after Wednesday, it'll be free agents. You can add and drop, however you want to do that. If there are any trades, I did see someone put someone on the trade block. You don't really have to worry about what those players' salaries are right now. So if someone trades a player that's $1 and someone trades a player that's $12, that does not affect the salary cap numbers or the free agent acquisition budget that is currently in place. Those numbers, again, will just not even come into play really until next year. And then in the off season, if you do happen to pick up people for $0 or for free, just know that technically their salary is actually 1. They'll have 1 point applied as their salary. But again, that doesn't really come into play until next off season. So I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. Congratulations to the Quakenados for receiving the kiss of death from the commissioner. You're welcome. Because generally, I think it was called that because generally the commissioner is completely, absolutely wrong every single year about this. So you're welcome, like I said. And then, if you don't want to play, get the the Chicken Little Award or whatever for lowest points, then get those lineups set and get those guys out there scoring some points. Give your team a pep talk. All right. I will be seeing you guys down the road. Everybody stay safe and good luck this season.